Hello and welcome to this week's live weekly warm-up. As always, I'm super excited. This is always a fun time for me to get to go live with you all, go over a warm-up exercise and see how it goes for you. It's really fun. We're starting to have some regular viewers, and it's always fun to get to interact with you all each week and sort of talk with you about what I have in store. So this one is going to be actually the start of a little bit of a series that I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be doing some exploration of the Altissimo register. I've gotten some questions about it and questions about like how to play in the Altissimo, how to get better at the Altissimo. And it's again sort of something I've been delaying talking about because it's a little bit more of an advanced thing. It takes some practice to really get comfortable with the Altissimo register, but I think it's time that we dig into it a little bit and start going over how to get your Altissimo sounding really great. I'm actually going to post one of my regular tips and tricks videos on this Saturday covering the Altissimo, where I'm going to talk more about some of the pitfalls and stuff with the Altissimo. But because this is the live weekly warm-up, I want to give you sort of a warm-up exercise that can really get you digging into this, really working on this, and really starting to sound great and starting to explore how to make the Altissimo sound as good as it possibly can. I'll talk about this in my video on this coming Saturday a bit more, but the Altissimo register, they're just high notes. Like, they're not going to sound as warm and lush as the lowest notes of the instrument, but we can do as much as we can to get them to match. Even though they will never sound quite as good, we can get it as close as we possibly can. And that's a bit of what today is about. So this is going to fall under the category of long tones. And this is a little bit more free form than the warm-up exercises are usually. I wouldn't even give you like sheet music for this because it's really a sort of a create your own adventure. So what I want you to do is just play some Altissimo notes, experiment, explore, change your air pressure, change your embouchure pressure, try different fingerings. There's a plethora of fingerings for the Altissimo register. But it's all about exploring and seeing what gets you the very best sound that you can. I'll post a link in the description on the YouTube channel, and I'll probably comment it on Facebook and hopefully Instagram as well. There's a great website that has a whole ton of Altissimo fingerings, so I'll link that so you can see all of the different options, and you can start exploring with some of that in today's exercise as well. But basically what we're going to do is really just true experimentation in the Altissimo. I'm going to start on C just to be on a nice comfortable clarion note that we're all familiar with. And then we're going to go up into the Altissimo, which starts on C sharp, and just sort of go up chromatically, sort of like a scale long tone, but we're going to be really experimenting around. You may get some squeaks, you may get some really awful sounds, and that's completely okay. That's sort of the goal here, is to experiment, see what happens when you do different things, so that eventually you can sort of refine that and get down to it sounding exactly how you want. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate this. Again, you don't even have to do the notes in this order. It's just about playing these Altissimo notes, exploring, experimenting, and seeing what happens. And I'll stop there. That was just up to E, but you could hear all of the crazy stuff. There were higher notes, there were lower notes, there was ugly sounds, there were some good sounds in there as well. And pretty much what I was doing was I was moving my tongue around in my mouth, seeing sort of where the tongue needs to be to get the best sound or the bad sound, so I know where not to put it when I'm going for good sounds. I also tried changing my embouchure pressure, where I maybe open up more, drop the jaw. Sometimes I would squeeze more. I would change sort of the way that pressure was interacting with the reed, where sometimes I might squeeze up this way more, sometimes I might squeeze down this way more pressure into the reed, less pressure into the reed, sort of exploring all kinds of different things and just experimenting around to see what I got. And you could hear from that there was a whole lot of different variety to those notes, which is eventually the goal, actually. A lot of those higher notes that I was playing were higher notes in the Altissimo, higher partials. There were actually some sort of in-between partials that I wasn't even expecting to get, so it was a fun exploratory experiment for me as well. And there was all kinds of in-between, from good sounds to bad sounds. So this may be difficult. You may not be used to having this much flexibility in the Altissimo. A lot of times people are always really tense and just we're always like really scared of it and really squeezing things down. But this allows us to be a little less afraid of the Altissimo, realize that they're sure high squeaky notes, but we can play with them and experiment with them. And the best players who have the best control over the Altissimo are really comfortable doing all those squeaks and squawks and experimenting with different sounds up there. So that's what I want you to do for today. And yeah, Colleen says that she can go 2 higher than E, which would be E, F, and then F sharp. And that's great. Feel free to experiment going as high as you want or can. That's what this week's exercise is all about, is just sort of having fun with it, exploring what is up there, what's up there for you, and getting a little less afraid of it, not always worrying about having to stretch for the highest possible squeaks that you can get, but realizing that there's squeaks above squeaks and you can just be eventually comfortable. And we'll talk about finding these partials more specifically in next week's live weekly warm-up and this Saturday's video. So if you're on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you get notified for all of this good, fun Altissimo action that we're going to be going over this week. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in Saturday's video or next week live on the live weekly warm-up. And in the meantime, have fun experimenting and exploring around the Altissimo.